It's there. The guy who's running it gets in, drives it one length, then turns it round on the corner and drives it back. And suddenly 600 litres of diesel starts spilling because the turning radius is for some reason narrow enough that the roller compactor cut the diesel tank. Ready?
Yes. We're ready, Freddie.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Are you too scared to ask? Are you too lazy to Google? Then this show's right for you. We're here at No Idea Yet, where we discuss any and all topics, go away, do some Google foo, and see what we found a week later, all wrapped nicely in an episode for you guys. I'm this week's host, Freddie, and I'm here with Johnny.
Hello.
And Alistair.
Hello.
This week, there is what's the word for it? Bad language warning. Okay? So this week, if you have some
explicit
little ones
content,
bad words, then maybe double check this episode before you listen. But I promise you it's not that bad. Okay, so today the theme is animal welfare, right? But I have a bit of a bonus for you guys, and this is where the content warning comes up. We're going to first, I've got two lined up, but maybe we only have one. Am I the assholes? Now, if you're not familiar with this, it's when people write on the internet a situation that they've been in, and they're not sure if they're in the wrong or they're in the right. And it's called, Am I the Asshole? So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one, I think, is quite a fun one. It's not too long. I'm not going to tell you what the title is. I'm just going to read you the story and then the title at the end for, atmosphericness. So, Am I the Asshole? This is a story written by AITA Lost Pet. That's the name of the user. So I think you can see where this might be going. So this weekend, I was walking through the park and saw a cat that looked like the one I'd seen on posters that were posted around the neighborhood. They said there was a reward of $500 for finding their lost cat. So I caught the cat, which was pretty easy since he was friendly, and checked the poster to see if it was him. It was. I went home, put him in the back porch and called a number on the poster to let them know that I'd found their cat. They were happy that I found him and said that they could come and pick him up right away. I confirmed that there was a $500 reward, texted the guy a picture of the cat, and gave him my address. This is where the problem started. When he got to my house, I asked for the reward money before returning the cat. He said that actually there wasn't a reward and that he only advertised it to increase the chance that people would look for his cat. I told him that I wasn't going to give his cat back until he paid the promised reward and that he shouldn't have posted one if he wasn't going to pay it. He got angry and threatened to call the cops that I wouldn't give him the cat. I said that he was welcome to and that I'd be happy to get things on record in case I had to take him to small claims court. He begrudgingly told me that he would be back later with the money. Later that night, he came back with the full $500. I gave him the cat and that was the end of it. When I told my girlfriend about it, she thought that I should have just given him the cat since it cost me nothing to catch it. And everyone's having a hard time right now. Some of my friends also think the guy was probably desperate to get his pet back. So it's kind of bad word of me to profit from a lost animal. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, am I the asshole?
What a great one. That's so good.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I don't know that.
Either of you want to go first? What do you think he is the asshole?
I think it's that kind of thing like in a court of law that no, you're not, because you're just asking for what was expected. But at the same time of like, as person to person about somebody's dear pet, you can probably appreciate, but I'd also be like, well, could I have at least a small reward? Because this was the intention, I guess.
Hey, it's been like, oh, could you just give me $100 for like the difficulty or something?
Or can you buy me a crate of beer or something like that? Do you know, even just a gesture in return, I feel would be fair enough.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it. To be honest with you, a lot of them you see that are hilarious because the person is so clearly the arsehole. Right? I think a little bit more nuanced in that they're both kind of at fault a bit. Like,
yeah,
the guy definitely shouldn't. You shouldn't promise something and then not give it. That's just poor form in general, right? That's just like making a deal and then not going through with it. That's just poor form in my opinion. But really, really going ham on him and being, I'm not giving you a cat until you pay me. Then you're like, you're basically selling
a hostage.
Yeah,
also, I don't know much about. I don't have any cats, but I know dogs are obviously really expensive. But I feel like cats really aren't very expensive, so you can just buy a new cat for less than 500 quid. But maybe that's the non-pet owner in me saying, well, yeah.
I love that. It's just like a goldfish. You just replace it, don't you? No, you can get like
Just get a new cat, they're cheap.
No, to wait out. Like you assumed you didn't want the cat, like the real owner, so just sat out there waiting until the cat escaped.
Cats are expensive. Can be. I think it's something like £1,000, like Siamese cats and stuff like that. Dependent.
Johnny, verdict: is he the arsehole?
I would say possibly, as this category is usually answer of like not the asshole or everyone sucks here. I kind of feel like maybe in everyone sucks, because really, if someone says I don't have the money, you'd be like, I'm annoyed about that, but here's your cat because I don't want a cat. You don't want to keep it hostage.
Win some, lose some kind of thing. Yeah.
I'd be like, well, could you buy me a beer or something? Do you as a nice gesture? Because I feel that's not too asking of somebody, but I appreciate you'd be like, I don't care enough. You can have the cat for free. I just found the cat easy enough.
Alistair?
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely you'd be disappointed, and I think everyone sucks a bit. Like everyone's partly at fault, but the guy definitely didn't handle it very well. I don't think.
Oh yeah,
that's fun. We should definitely do these at the beginning of more every episode. We'll make a whole new podcast about it. I don't know. But
that guy definitely was the asshole, because you don't.
I think it's like Johnny says, you assume that there is always one arsehole, and that is the overwhelming. There's one arsehole, one good guy. But I think I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you watched Tiger King back when it was on. My take on Tiger King was definitely that they are all terrible people.
Terrible. I don't get how
Carol Baskin
started siding with one person or the other. Like that,
it was like they're all terrible people.
Yeah. And it's like, Carol Baskin did this. Yeah, but have you just forgot the train wreck of Tiger King?
Anyway, didn't need to go on a side. What's called a little detour there.
I know.
Tangent is the word I'm looking for. Yes. Anyway,
we have time for one more. This is about dogs this time. Yeah, would you like another one?
I'll go on, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure the listeners who are sitting in their car and they just have this on in the background are like, go on, mate, go on.
Go on.
Okay. So the story goes, last year, my female 32 sister, who's female 28, was kicked out of her boyfriend's house and I took her in. We don't have the best relationship, but she was jobless and I was the only relative still living in our country. They don't specify. Surprise, surprise, about 2 months later, she figured out she was pregnant. One day, she started to complain about my dog, a beautiful 2-year-old half husky, and how it would be bad for her baby and that she wouldn't want to raise her kid with a wild animal around. My dog is a total sweetheart, in brackets. I told her it was my house, and if she was not comfortable here, she could leave, and my dog was staying no matter what. She kept complaining, but I wouldn't change my mind. About 2 weeks ago, I had to travel for work to a remote location for a few days. When I came back, my dog was not home, and my sister claimed she had no idea where it was. We got into a fight because I didn't believe her. I ended up storming off and asking a few neighbors if they'd seen it. One told me that last time he saw it was when my sister took him somewhere a few days ago. She uses my Uber account because she's broke, so when I found an odd trip to the other side of the city, I connected the dots. I drove all the way over there and asked around until I found my dog in a street restaurant. The owner took him after a blonde pregnant woman, left him leashed to a fence. I ended up explaining the situation, paying him like $500, and I got my dog back. When I went home, I kicked out my sister. I gave her enough money for a week in a hotel and sent her on her merry way. She made a huge scandal, and I admit I was a bit too forceful, but I was furious. She later clarifies forceful just means screaming, nothing physical. She called all of my family and friends, and they're all telling me that I'm an asshole for picking my dog over my pregnant sister and that I should take her back, that I should value that unborn baby more than a silly animal. I think my dog is more important and what my sister did was unforgivable, but I'll accept your judgment. There are some updates that I will read if we need them. So.
Alistair first.
These are so good. I mean, I think what's really important there is that they say that they weren't close to start off with. Because I think a lot of people think it's a given that siblings get on, but they don't always. And so that is actually, I think, quite important to, as a caveat to that is, you can definitely not get on with your siblings, and and therefore, I think that makes it even that would definitely side with her not being the asshole, as it were. But yeah, obviously, if you're gonna, I don't know, if she's really like, again, if especially if it's a more impoverished country, you don't know where it is, but you'd assume it's maybe somewhere colder based on the fact that the dog's half husky. I don't know, maybe, but. If she is really down her luck, like a pregnant woman by herself, that's rough. So I think it's your sister. So I don't think anyone's I think the sisters, what she did was pretty terrible. Just kind of
There are
be a bit more grateful for what you've got and what your sister's offering you, and don't.
There are steps to be taken before it gets to this point, don't you think?
Yeah.
What was that, sorry? Action should be taken.
There are steps to be taken before you take the dog and hide it. I think dog person.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, yes, I think the biggest thing is less about the animal or the pregnancy, it's the trust, isn't it? You know, if you go away, and for her, it may be her most prized thing and the thing she loves the most in the world. You don't know if she's single, if she's got a relationship. She could live on her own, and the dog is her like life and soul. You don't know that with the person. That you feel like you can't leave your sister alone in the house because they may get rid of your dog, which could be the most important thing to you. You may have a better relationship. And I'm not saying this just as a dog owner, but some people may be like, I prefer my dog to my sister because I hate my sister, kind of thing, which depended on the relationship, you know, as you say, Alistair. So it's the trust that was broken. And therefore, I think the thing is the dog, which was got rid of, but it's the same thing of being like, I don't know how much I can trust you. Are you going to like suddenly change all the locks in my house and then kick me out without me knowing about it? Are you going to bring in a boyfriend who's going to be like bringing in whatever else? Or, you know, like, I think it's that thing of, I don't feel I can trust you in my home. And so, yeah, the thing is about the dog, but I think it's ultimately about the trust that was broken by saying, you got rid of something I really love by tying it to a fence, like far away, you know.
Using my Uber account, it's just poor. It's just poorly thought through.
I don't want to dwell on this too much because we're going to move on. But if we just twisted this a little and assumed maybe that the lady was lying and her dog wasn't very nice and was maybe very aggressive and a scary animal to be around, would that change anything? Or you think still it's the trust?
I think part of it is a case of, for the woman who's pregnant, it's hard because it's kind of like as well having a kid, you know, like you've got to do what's
this is recent. This is during the pandemic.
She had that's even harder.
She can't get, no one would hire a pregnant woman, and she works in tourism, which is a dead field right now. So she really had nowhere to go. Yeah,
because it's a case of, you know, like you try what's best for your kid, but at the same time, like if you can't go anywhere else, and it's a case of, well, I think it'd be a case of trying to talk about it to be like, well, could we try doing something with training the dog or whatever, so I feel more comfortable with it, you know, if they're really not going to do anything, but not in a hard place.
Yeah. Okay. Well, excellent. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that beginning. So today's episode, like I mentioned, is to talk about animal welfare, because I realized when I read these, that's what inspired me, that I didn't actually know anything about the laws around pets, because it does mention in some of the updates about how this lady says that there are no animal protection laws in the country that she lives in, really. So I thought, you know what? I actually don't know much about the UK's. So first I'll ask you, what do you know about the laws regarding pet shops? We'll start small-ish. Do either of you have any idea on the regulations? I do have them, by the way, just a little bit written down. The laws regarding pet shops.
I worked in a zoo, so that doesn't help. I don't know. I do know that a pet has priority over zoo animals on a plane. So if they can spend 6 months organizing a chimpanzee to go from the UK to like America, and it can be a huge logistical nightmare because you've got to learn how to track the animal to transport over. Also, when you're on a domestic flight, there could be like an elephant underneath you and you just wouldn't know. Actually, probably ship those. But like, yeah, if somebody, so you've got like 5 chimps, they're all going to be on a domestic flight, they're all going to be in the cargo bay, whatever. Suddenly, somebody decides, I'm going to bring my cat to America from the UK. Those chimps get just shafted. You know, they are not the priority. Pets come over zoo animals. So, you know, anyone who's domestically flying with an animal, you could be kicking out some whatever animal from a zoo to a zoo because they don't take priority. Fun fact.
I don't know.
Interesting. Alistair,
That's
any clue?
This is definitely a no idea yet for me. I had a friend who used to work at a pet shop, and I know that he got fired because he used the excuse that his grandma died 5 times. Like, how many grandmas have you got? Even if they're both the same sex couples, you're pushing it at 5, mate. No, I really don't know much about it.
I'll give you.
So, I assume that there are laws about what, there's obviously exotic animals and things that you can't have, and I don't know. But honestly, I don't know.
I know one thing, which is about
No idea,
food.
mate.
Anything which doesn't have an internal skeleton can be fed live food. So like any insects, also mollusks, like octopuses don't actually have any protection against them. They come as the same insects. So you can live feed insects to animals, so especially in the UK, whereas you can't live feed like a fish. It has to be a dead fish. It can't be a living fish. It can't be a living mouse. It has to be a dead mouse. So anything which is a vertebrate can't be fed to anything when it's alive. Whereas if it's invertebrate, then it can be fed alive. So crickets, locusts, I guess crabs, to be honest. But it also includes octopus, considering they're so intelligent that they have no protection whatsoever because they don't have a vertebrae.
I can live feed an octopus to my horse.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it because if you live feed octopus, they can stick in your throat and choke you.
Oh, my poor horse. Or the poor octopus. I don't know.
Both?
Fair enough. Okay, so pet shop laws, you have no idea. Well, maybe you'll look something up on that later. Hint. Okay, let's go to then dog breeding. So do you know that a law has changed very recently regarding dog breeding? And I'm wondering if what you guys think about this. It is now banned to have a third-party sale of kittens and puppies in the UK, not in Wales yet. Do you know what this means?
A third-party sale, do you say? Is that where so there's a middleman, so like a pet shop buys kittens to sell to somebody else?
Basically. Alistair, do you know?
Yep, exactly what Johnny just said. It was on the tip of my tongue, of course. No, honestly, I like say, I'm sure when you explain it, it's not going to be rocket science, but off the top of my head,
So is
it's
it
not my area of expertise.
You have to buy from a breeder.
Yeah, you can't just have some random breeder person sell kittens or puppies to a pet shop to then sell on. I just think, right. So you can no longer do this, but you can still do it in Wales. Why do you think this might be an issue or not?
Well, because I know effectively, like, I know a big thing with like breeders and stuff. Like now, good breeders, they'll take any. Well, at least for I know for dogs, it's like if you after 6 months you're like, actually I can't handle this dog. A good breeder will say, I will take the dog back because I prefer the dog to be with me rather than you just giving them away because they care about the animals that they breed. So I guess with that in mind, a breeder will usually they tend to breed because the love of the dog. And then they've got people in mind. So usually have people who sign up for them, dependent on, of course. I'm assuming when you sell to a pet shop, you don't have anyone in mind. So you can have people who breed 500 dogs, just puppy farm, sell to a pet shop because they don't need to care where it's going. Whereas a pet shop may be like, we can't sell all these dogs. What are we going to do? I guess just put them down. So it's control.
So Alistair, I'm feeling that you're not sure on this subject.
So the question is why we think why is third party selling of pets no longer allowed? Is it something to do with the lockdown?
But Johnny's covered a bit of this, especially basically it's just not as regulated and you could do a lot more naughty stuff, but it's pretty cool that breeders would take back animals. So yeah. I'm going to give you a further question. So I'm going to read out 3 subjects, and Alistair, see if you know anything about any of them or whether they are allowed or not allowed. Okay,
Interesting.
So puppy imports to the UK, live farm animal exports, and animal sanctuaries. What do you think about any of these?
If I was on a quiz show and those are my 3 options, I'd probably go animal sanctuaries.
Okay, so what do you think is the regulation for animal sanctuaries currently in the UK?
I think they're probably pretty appalling. Like, I think
Yes. Until recently, there was no minimum standard.
Oh my God,
and in Wales, there's still no minimum standard for animal sanctuaries. Yes. Okay, so then live exports, do you think that that's happened still or not happened? Like,
what is it like?
Pigs, for example, from the UK.
I honestly don't know. No idea, mate. Absolutely no idea. I guess it probably does happen because I'd have thought it's just there's a lot of money in it, so I'd assume it would happen. But yeah,
okay. So
again, like Johnny was saying earlier, I don't know how difficult it is to do that. So again, it's something I have no idea about whatsoever.
That's fair enough. So actually, Alistair, I'm going to give you that as your question to look up live exports. Just that's it. Any interesting facts you find about live exports.
This is for meat or this is for like farming, meat, zoos, anything.
Whatever you want. Live exports. I'm going to give you both different ones this week just to see. And then
a cool thing about live export. It's not related to that, to be honest. It's just that it's a zoo story, and it was somebody said when they had to transport, I think it was a zebra, like down south, and they did it with the effectively back of a transit van, but it's like kitted out for animals and whatever. But yeah, he said you've got this zebra which first is kind of knocked out, and then they start to come round, and zebras are just like mad horses effectively. And he said you're driving and you just feel like this kicking on the back of you, like slamming against you constantly. He said you're just going down the motorway, you're just a bit terrified. There's just this like bucking animal smacking on the back of you. I just think that's just mad.
Oh my god.
Okay,
fair enough. That sounds great. I mean, especially think about how batshit people were. I mean, back in, let's say, Victorian times, when they're like, I want peacocks, I want emus, and I want a giraffe, like, in my garden. So I can imagine there's been a lot of stories.
But one bit of I don't know if it's a myth. Somebody said it at Chester Zoo, and other people backed it up, but it's just a bit unbelievable that there was a point of where they had to transport a dead giraffe somewhere, and it was on the motorway, and the head was hanging out, so you could see a dead giraffe driving down them.
Was this the Hangover 3 by any chance?
That's what I mean. That's what it was like. Too much of a joke. I was like, I don't really believe you, but there was like multiple people at the zoo said, no, yeah, there was like they were transporting a dead giraffe somewhere, and like the head popped out of the back of the truck or something because it was like an open top, something mad. And I don't really believe it, but I guess I'm putting it out there as a little thing of possibly to believe or not that there was at some point near Chester Zoo a dead giraffe hanging out on the motorway.
Oh my god. Okay, well, just to wrap up before we finish, Johnny, so I've given Alistair a question about live exports. I'm going to be meaner to you. And do you know anything about the punishment for animal cruelty in the UK?
Oh, because there's been a few stuff of where people have actually, I think they've started to have possibly jail time, because I know before it would just be like community service or something like that, not huge, but I feel like there's been some cases
public shaming on Facebook, big time.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been like some animal cruelty to like a dog where somebody like got 6 months or something like that.
You're close. So yes, it used to be the maximum penalty was 6 months, no matter what you did, I think.
Wow, that's mad.
Yeah. But it's been.
You definitely got an article written about you in the newspaper, and definitely would have poo thrown at your house, or dog shit through video letterbox for the rest of your day. Yeah. Fun fact for you as well. I don't know. You might have heard about. I don't know how like, international this news was, but the guy got the death penalty in China for killing and eating a panda.
That's
a move. Oh wow.
Fair play.
Yeah, that was a few years ago, but yeah,
that's mad.
Okay. I don't want to go down animal cruelty, to be honest. Like you don't have to research the punishment for that. I was thinking, okay, you can research traveling circus. Do they still exist? And what the rules are? Okay, because I don't actually know anything about circus. Pardon?
I think in Russia they still have them. I think not them in the UK though.
Again, I think Wales still does.
Bloody Wales, man!
I think we just learned how backwards Wales is.
I went down this route. Basically, there's been a change in animal welfare in the UK, except Wales hasn't caught up yet. And so
except Wales.
Just the Wales.
I love animal cruelty. I do. I love it.
so no sheep jokes, please. Yeah, so you can have a little look to see, because I don't know anything about traveling circus. So just tell me if it still exists or not. And for Alistair, we have live exports. Because again, I don't know. I just stumbled across some of this information when I was looking up.
Are we going to touch on veganism and everything in this as well? Or,
jeez.
Animal welfare. No, I'm curious if there's a plan to do that, or if we're going to work that into a future episode or anything. Because obviously, yeah, I mean, as I feel like you can't really talk about animal welfare and everything without touching on that a little bit at some point. But
watch me. What? No. Yes.
Watch me just talk about pets and zoos and be like, yeah, eat as many cows as you want, but if you dare, don't get on a plane.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe in a future episode we can get into.
Cool. Yeah, I say it's a heavy one, isn't it? So yeah.
I mean, I did only found out recently when I was having a conversation with an Uber vegan about honey. I mean, that's just a whole other.
Oh man,
we're not going to talk about it now.
still want to know about veganism views and beekeeping.
Go watch the Bee movie. It'll teach you everything you need to know about
You can look it up.
honey and bestiality, and it's
Yeah, if you want to.
as if a woman falls in love with a bee. What is going on?
Isn't it communism as well in that film? I've heard.
Yes, definitely.
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like take away the workers' work and what does it leave them? I guess I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've got another half of the episode. Remember, so you can go down
We
all
do.
these avenues if you want to. I'm just giving you a little idea to look up. If you want to, you can look up honey. Okay, I'm sorry. Right. Well, thank you for listening to the first half.
Oh, can I
Okay.
finish on one more thing? One more thing. Go on. This is a good one. So zoos don't own animals. They don't actually have the rights to that animal. It always works on a kind of like the animal is at a certain zoo. Everything's like you got to call it's software called ZIMS, but it means that you can't buy or sell zoo animals whatsoever. It's not legal. I don't know if it's legality, but it's a case of they don't do that. It's more like a trade system. So usually it'd be like if somebody's known to be good at something, be like, right, we'll give you this like a carpy or something, but we do want something in return. What do you have? Sometimes it'd be like just as it'd be like, well, we've got quite a few elephants have been given birth and there's a giraffe as well, so we'll trade you. So it kind of works in this thing, and it's not like animal for animal, but it does work in a sense of you're not allowed to buy or sell in the zoo trade. It's just that's not allowed. You don't own the animal; they are just at your zoo and you're showing them effectively.
I know. Yeah, there's panda diplomacy, right? Panda.
Except pandas.
Yeah, but panda because China owns all the pandas wherever they are anywhere. So they can just take away pandas. If you annoy China, they can just take away your pandas. Also, I think my extent of my knowledge on that would also be limited to Madagascar. So I think we've got got a thing going on here, but yeah.
Okay, so yes, thank you. I'm glad that you guys were interested in this topic that I found checking out some debates on the internet. I'd like to do one of those again in the future. I know each episode I say this is what I'm going to do, news articles, and then I don't, but we're learning. So thank you for listening to the first half of No Idea Yet. So we'll join you after the break from our sponsor.
Yeah, we totally have to have an advert break in the middle bit. That's what I was thinking as well.
Oh.
Okay, perfect. And we'll find out what Johnny's found out about travelling circus.
Like a solid half hour and then Alistair for 2 minutes.
Exporting pigs or exporting live animals. I don't know.
Found out, you could totally export dead animals more than you could. It's easier to export dead pigs than it is to export live ones,
Hey listeners, if you've made it this far and you have anything, maybe a product, another podcast, a charity that you'd like us to pop into our halftime interlude, please let us know at noideayetpodcast@gmail.com.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of No Idea Yet. Today we've been talking about pets and animal welfare. I gave Johnny and Alistair a couple of questions to go off and research. It's been a week now, and we'll be seeing what they found out in just a moment. But before we get started again, I feel like we should have another, and this is just a language warning now, another, am I the asshole? Are you up for it, guys?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay, so I actually have 2, but I'm not going to do both. Now, so I'm going to give you the choice, and if right at the end, we can always do the second one and we can cut it out if it's too long. Would you like a duck one, I think's all right, or a cat one?
Well, now I'm thinking, the duck one's all right and the cat one, I don't know if that's better or worse.
That is true. I think
I feel like we had a cat one last time, so we can definitely mix it up with a
duck.
Okay, we'll have a duck one. So, as I did earlier, I'm not going to say the title because it ruins it. So, disclaimer, this is a very British and polite post, not a serious issue. So I'll try and put my breast bit of British accent on. I live near a duck pond that has one population of ducks. When there's food, they all go to the same place. They don't split and go to different people. I regularly feed these ducks, but today when I got to the pond, there was a group of adults and children putting out seed already. It actually says that, putting out seed. No issue, I politely wait on the other side of the pond and take some pictures of other wildlife. Then the screams start. No one is being tragically murdered. The kids are shouting for the ducks to do something and running towards them when they do come on land. This is super not okay. So I throw down duck food on my side of the pond and hijack the little buttes. The mother of the brats loudly exclaims to the father of the brats that I was a bit bloody cheeky and stole the ducks from her kids. Loud enough for me to hear, but obviously not aimed at me. Polite and British, no confrontation. Am I the asshole for duck stealing?
Oh my god, really high stakes on this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so gentle.
I know, right?
That is the tamest thing I go. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I've
absolutely.
seen them.
I think a prison sentence is in order.
I mean, if they were
Like-
swans, this would be.
Or Canadian
yeah.
geese. They'll be attacking you.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Totally. So I'm assuming it's a unanimous, not an asshole thing to do.
I mean,
It's an asshole for wasting our time and putting it on Reddit. But
I'll have you know, this got thousands of upvotes.
no, I think I can appreciate of like, yeah, someone's dicking around with the ducks, but at the same time, why are the parents complaining? Ducks aren't that interesting unless you're feeding them, and when you stop feeding them, they're just ducks.
Get the bored with ducks guy over here. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm trying to make a point, just so it's not Alistair being like, you're wasting our time. Like, well, let's.
Ducks. I feel like if they're kids being kids, just like kids running around with ducks. Okay, but if they're actually, I mean, the line where if he's being an asshole really is like, were the kids actually harming the ducks anyway? If one of the kids like kicked the duck or something, then of course that's fair. That you should, I don't know, be a duck hero by feeding them seed on the other side of the pond. It is just so hilariously British hero.
Just really trying to like, it's like what can we? How can we find?
All right.
No, I like this one. No. So I think why were the parents
yeah.
not worried about the kids bothering the
We have
ducks?
a duck one, that's all right. And we have a cat one.
I
And you
like
both
the
thought,
duck one.
"Oh, how all right can the duck one be? God, it
The
must
duck wasn't worth it.
You know what, Fred? You've set the bar now. You set the bar nice and low. Let's go for the cat one.
Do we have time for the cat one?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, you can cut it out if you want.
Right. Am I the asshole? It's safe to say that I'm a dog person. I've always loved dogs and always had dogs. And my dog that I have now is my best bud. I love how social they are and how much they show love back to their humans and that they are smart and trainable. I definitely do not like cats. Lots of people love them, and that's fine. But I personally do not even slightly see the appeal of taking care of an animal that doesn't give two shits if you live or die. And that takes an insane amount of training and effort to even learn basic commands, which they will only ever do if they feel like it. I can't count how many times I've been scratched or bitten by a cat for no other reason than I dared go near it. So yeah, not a fan. They don't like cats. My girlfriend and I have been dating for coming up to 1 year, and she is a 1 in a million girl. When we're apart, I often find myself just wanting to spend time together. She is wickedly funny and always making me laugh out loud, and an amazing artist. And she has a cat. It's not even...
plot twist, didn't see that one coming.
It's not even particularly bad cats or anything as far as cats go, very average, but I'm so the opposite of a cat person that even average is bad. Have you ever hated someone so much that every little thing annoys you? That's what cats are like to me, and there's cats just everywhere when I'm hanging out in my girlfriend's apartment, jumping up and down from shelves, stepping on my crotch, kneading my legs with its paws, and most importantly, claws, yowling outside the bedroom door whenever I spend the night. My girlfriend, of course, loves him and doesn't see any flaws. All of this wouldn't be a problem, but as I said, we're approaching 1 year, and I've been thinking about our future together. I mean, wow, that's been a year. Okay. Jonathan, I could see myself marrying this girl, and I want her to move in with me, but I do not want her to have the cat. I don't even know if my dog will get along with it, and I know I will get along with it. I've tried to talk to my girlfriend about the issue, and she just turned stone fucking cold. Hey, maybe cat can live with your parents when we move them together. They're in the same city as us. No, we're a package deal. I think I kind of swapped the voices there.
Yes.
Hey, I'm all open. Maybe she's got deep voice. I tried very calmly and rationally explaining to her the issue, which is basically that he just hates cats. I mean, she's not allergic. Different words.
Addicted to cats, yeah.
Addicted to cats.
Right, yeah.
A very weird way of expressing it.
And she outright said that I need to figure out what's more important to me because either they both move in with me or we break up and stop wasting each other's time. It's just a full ultimatum and holding the relationship hostage. I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here. If she's playing hardball, would it be an arsehole move for me to play hardball right back and say she can't move in until she rehomes the cat?
But aren't they both doing ultimatums? Like, it's like, oh, she's giving me ultimatum. Like, so are you. It's the exact, yeah it'd be like, the thing is the cat and the dog, realistically, like, if they don't get along, like, you can have a dead cat or a hurt dog.
Yeah. Also, I really struggle to believe that he's been with her for a year, and if this bugs him that much, that it hasn't come up quite a lot, and I don't know, it just seems like it would be quite a big deal.
I love the every time that he goes out, opens the door, it's like, oh yeah, my girlfriend, and just like seething hatred for the cats nearby.
I feel like it's one of those TV shows where it's like sees the thing and the cat's in the background, like, it's like staring at it, and then the cat like gives him the finger from behind. And he's like, see, she did it again. He's so beautiful. He's fine.
Just open a window and hope there's a guy who really likes ducks, but instead it's cats. Just steal the cat.
Just give some
See?
food.
It's just like, oh, this guy stole my girlfriend's cat. I don't mind.
But, I mean,
Just threw some fish out, on the street.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
One of the Am I the Arseholes from earlier in the episode. I mean, maybe it'll end up with him taking the cat, just dropping it somewhere off in another city. As long as he doesn't use Uber, he's safe.
But I like the fact that, there's nothing wrong with the cat. He just doesn't like cats. And then it's kind of like, it seems like cats are more important to you than the relationship. Or you're not the cats, the hatred of cats.
Yeah.
I've never had cats, but they can be great. Apparently, I heard a thing of like saying like, when you get a dog or a puppy, they'll take like 6 weeks on holiday or whatever. They put loads of time out to get a puppy. Whereas cats, they're just like, oh, I'll have a week off and go back to work. It's like the cats still need the same amount of like socialization. So like the reason why you sometimes get like bad cats is because people don't put the time and effort into them. They don't treat them like they do a dog. And so usually cat's just left on its own devices to roam around a house. So no wonder it doesn't really care about you that much because you didn't put the initial effort in.
Wow.
Because my mate Joe, his cat, he loves his cat. It proper like goes up to him, he play fights with it, jumps on him. He like proper like, cuddly thing.
So if it was Am I the Arsehole between the guy and the cat, then we're going with the guy rather than the cat. Right?
Yeah, the cat's fine. I love that. It's like
I wouldn't say he's an arsehole. He just seems very poor at making relationship related decisions. Because if it's that big of a deal, then there are other relationships.
We assume he'll outlive it.
Anyway, 9 lives. They can live for it. They probably outlive the average relationship.
I like that as well. He even says like, it's an average cat. It's not even a bad cat. It's not particularly good or bad. It's average. Yeah, I still hate it.
Yeah.
People are in the comments, in case you're curious, are talking about the dog. So if she asked you to get rid of the dog, would you? A lot of deleted comments. That's fun. People
question.
saying that he is the arsehole.
I like to imagine that. Like, well, if I asked you to get rid of your dog, would you? And then he'd be like, but dogs are different. And he'd be like pet racist kind of thing. It's like, do you not realize that cats are the same as dogs? No. They are sub-pet.
Speciesist. Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, I understand his point of view, I guess, but at the same time, I haven't ever hated anything that much.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is your dog and cat going to get along, realistically? That first and foremost.
I did date a girl once who had 3 cats in her studio apartment, and then there was no question needed to be asked about where her license was, because you know what a tramp stamp is, right?
Yeah.
She had a tattoo there of a cat.
Like just the whole cat, sideways?
Just like a silhouette of a cat there. I was like, that says it away.
Yeah.
No competition.
It's definitely the cat, not me.
I've got to just add this in because it is quite funny. I was vaguely seeing a girl, met up a couple of times. She had a tattoo of a horse, massive horse tattoo right there. Now, I don't know if
Mate, you just hit your body and said right there on a podcast.
Oh yeah, right the bicep, like the full shoulder bicep horse thing. We're talking, it's a beast of a tattoo. And I have friends who have horses or have had horses. Do you remember Jenny?
Yeah,
Johnny?
Rock.
She was obsessed with horses. She was
horse person. Yeah.
She was a horse person. I mean, not the kind where there's like half horse, half human, but like a person.
Not a centaur.
It was a centaur. She was an absolute centaur.
She could have been. She would have been. And this girl, I asked her, I was like, oh, so like, is this a particular breed? Is this your horse? Do you ride horses? No. She's never touched a horse in her life. She just thinks they're cool, but not even like that cool.
I was thinking like, well, I guess people get like lions on their arm, which they've never seen a lion, but a horse is so you could just go ride a horse.
With just the horse's head as well. Like, I mean, it looked very much like it was her horse.
I think as a rule, that's the equivalent of like having a tattoo in a language that you don't speak. It's just a bit like
shout. Yeah.
All right, well done.
Love it. Oh, I can't wait for us to talk about things like that. Okay, I don't even know what I was just going to be talking about in the next episode.
I really like the duck one, by the way. I'm a big fan of that. It was so gentle.
the episode.
There's
The
no real.
problem was the episode peaked so early.
You can't do that to us.
Oh man. Okay, well, I guess we'll continue with the episode, and I will move swiftly on to the questions that I posed to you guys when we left. Did you actually look it up? And did you find something interesting?
I think I did it at work, so I did loads more research than I have previously. I was just like, yeah, this is kind of procrastinating, but also work.
Okay, excellent. And you're going to not talk about zoos, or you're talking about zoos?
No, it's not like, I mean, I've written this down from the previous one. I didn't realize how much pent up animal knowledge I had. I just really know about animals, and I haven't been able to talk about them in years. Just talk about kitchens.
Pent up animal knowledge. That should be the title of this episode, I think.
Should we leave more pent up for a second? Alistair, would you like to go first?
Go for it.
I can do. Yes, I have some thoughts.
Excellent.
In note form. So, my question was live exports? Question mark.
It was
Nothing to do with a question. So, everything that you research about it comes up as it's bad. There is a lot of people who don't like them, and protests galore. So you have to sort of wade through a fair bit of that. If you Google live exports, it's a lot of they're really bad. They're pretty bad, to be fair. A lot of animals die in transit. That's basically what it is. Obviously, it's just exporting livestock to different countries, or via these sort of custom-built, very dark, depraved Noah's Arks kind of thing. It's sort of like just like a multi-story car park on a ship full of sheep, and it's a bad time basically. So lots of people. There's a lot of protests, and just kind of a lot. Sort of went down that rabbit hole a bit, really. So there was found out about the wool industry, also pretty terrible to animals for the most part. Don't think that's groundbreaking news, but
I just thought they shaved. It was all right, actually. I just thought
you wouldn't think too bad. That's the merino wool apparently, but who knows?
Which countries were you looking at? Was it UK or not?
Yes, that was one. So New Zealand have got quite a good track record for that at the moment. They seem to be they can do no wrong. But the UK, the interesting thing I read about that, which I put down, the 2020 Conservatives, in 2020, the Conservatives pledged to ban live exports. As one of the things they said in the last election. They pledged that. I think get on the. I don't know. I feel like the people who hate the Tories anyway. So it seems kind of but flogging a dead horse.
Wait a second.
I hope they export. Cut that out.
I don't want to think about can it be humane? Like, can they do it so that it's humane?
Yeah.
And it's sort of they could, but it was not cost effective in the slightest, so they wouldn't. So I know. I think the interesting thing that I was kind of going to pose back to you guys as a question is sort of looking at veganism and all that sort of stuff. Where would you draw the line? So obviously, vegans, they draw a very clear line. I'm not having anything to do with animal products. Very clear. But obviously, like I said, if you look into this live export stuff, you can, that's pretty appalling. But then you could choose to draw the line at no meat, no live exports, no you can only eat fair trade. Like, it's just interesting when you sort of start thinking about it. It's like a line that you draw, right? I guess. But
so how far does the line go? Because realistically, it's like, I don't want to eat any live animal products, but it's like, but wool is the exact same industry, and you'll have loads of clothes.
I feel like, I don't know how you guys are with thinking, well, this is all terrible, but I do like my cheap burgers still. Like, has it at all?
Because I think I always my go-to thing of Food Inc. Came out, or Blackfish, all those kind of documentaries about the meat industry and about kind of the bad practices that people do have. If you just look on Peter's website, it's just they are just terrible company. They just jump at everything for no reason. Kind of what's she called? Just kind of internet troll, but for animal rights, but overboard. But those documentaries have made people in England vegan because of practices done in America, if you know what I mean. And it's like the meat industry is so bad. It's like, it's awful. I've got to stop eating meat. It's like, you do realize the meat that you're eating is produced in Britain, where it's not an entire state has all the cows and all the corn. Apparently they have it where it'll be you've got millions of cows in one huge field, and then next to it is loads of corn, because they just produce it straight from one to the other because it's cheap. And it's in America, A&W is fast food burger place, and it's like, no, like grass-fed animals with no antibiotics, and like in England that's just standard really, and it's kind of like, you know, yeah.
Cows don't eat corn normally, and then feed them corn. In America, where they feed them corn, and
they feed everything corn.
Not salmonella, E. coli, right?
So they get one of the things with E. coli is because they're not on grass, they're just seeing like huge things of dirt, and sometimes if it gets muddy, they'll be up to like their knees in mud. So, and that's just mud with loads of cow crap in it as well. So that's where the E. coli comes from. They get it in like sores wounds, the udders as well, and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's why. Same with like salmonella from chickens, is because we just feed chickens.
We feed chickens.
Well, we used to, I think. I don't know if we do it anymore, but the reason why it's like so prolific was apparently used to feed chickens like dead bits of chicken, and it's, I guess, like feeding humans that prime disease. I don't know. Something about chickens eating chickens gave him salmonella.
Wow,
I think that's a quote from The Hangover 3 when he's like, he trains fighting cockerels and he feeds them a diet of, he's like, they only have cocaine and chicken.
Alistair, just to finish up your live exports thing, did you find anything positive about live exports? And I'm saying as a devil's advocate, like this.
I mean, so the only thing that I was thinking, that had me sort of thinking about it when I was looking at it, is obviously with all these ships and everything, it kind of has a lot of harking back to slavery. Like, you know, there's a lot of similarities there, I guess, if you like, with how they used to treat, how we used to treat slaves and how we now treat these animals. So I was kind of thinking, I think we've posed this sort of question before and had a chat about this before, but the idea of like a future generation looking back at us now and the things that they would think are as abhorrent as things that we think are a few hundred years ago. What do we look back at and think that was so terrible? Why would people think that was okay? But obviously at the time people kind of got on with it and it was fine then. So it's not that difficult to think, I don't think, that in the 100 years time they could look back at how we treat, I don't know, homeless people and animals on the whole, as it's just completely like, why were they so morally corrupt back then? But equally, I don't know if that's actually true, because obviously slavery was a lot worse than the meat industry. I don't think anyone's going to deny that. But anyway, I don't know.
That's only putting
not really
humans.
Positive. Sorry, Johnny.
I was going to say that's only as putting the humans as the main thing there. It's like it's not as bad as slavery because they're not humans. So speciesism. Yeah. What species?
Speciesist.
Definitely hard to
I don't know.
the horrors. I can't. Again, I wasn't there on a slave ship, and I imagine it was absolutely just unimaginably terrible. But also because I can empathize with it more than I can empathize with the pig. But then at the same time, I don't imagine I'd have a very good time on a big slave boat.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely slavery's worse.
My vote is also I don't know. I think you've got to kind of. You vote with your wallet, obviously, aren't we? I think we're all. But also none of us are slaves, so are we okay with that? I don't know where we're going with that, but yeah.
Slavery's still a thing, isn't it? There's more slaves now than there ever has been.
Yeah, there is. I think the problem with any of those statistics is there's so many more people now that all those statistics are just completely skewed. But there are modern slavery is real.
Yeah, terrible. I guess you have to base it on.
If you shop at Primark, then you love it.
Yeah, I know. What is it? It's either there's three things. It's the price, quality, and ethics. You can only choose two. With anything you get, because really, like anything produced by anything in England, for instance, everyone's got a minimum wage that they have to get, and that means your costs are high. Whereas, unfortunately, you go to somewhere else, and it's like, no, we can pay them nothing, and it'll be more than they currently have. And on that ethos, like, well, we're giving them jobs, so it's better than nothing. But it's kind of when people are like billionaires.
If you really wanted to live a truly ethically pure life as a human, you would seriously struggle. Like I applaud anyone who takes steps to live more ethically and live a better life. But realistically, being a human in existence at the moment is pretty bad for a lot of things in the first world, as it were. But
yeah.
Anyway, so Fred, that is to answer your positivity come from that
side thing now, where I googled the top. Well, these are the top 5 companies that still have slave labor, and we got Nestle.
Nestle are bad.
Nike.
I think everyone does know that's good. But
H&M and Walmart. Oh man, I'm just reading some of the stuff they've done, and it's like, 2016 report stated that as of December 31st, 2015, 31 out of 72 H&M suppliers were using slaves.
Oh man, that's so bad.
It's awful.
I remember this is from when I was like 15. I liked to watch Gok Wan's shows, and one of the things I think it was from him. I swear it was something like Marks and Spencer's made a comment to Primark being like, I can't believe you sell your clothes so cheaply, you know, how bad is it kind of thing? And then Primark said, I can't believe you sell the same clothes at so much more. And it's that thing of, you know, everybody's, you know, Primark's the main one I think of always really bad, but everyone's got a hand in it, don't they? Somewhere along the line.
So to continue, if you'd like, Johnny, can you bring us on to probably another not so happy topic?
I mean, the start of my research was actually about pet shop laws, because when we talked about that, and it was selling animals as pets is the requirements, because I've researched it now, so I just got to say it, of suitable animals, selling animals as pets. They need suitable accommodation, adequate food and water, visited and exercised regularly, protected from pain, suffering and disease, protected from fire in an emergency, looked after by trained people, and they can't be too young when they're sold. So I think mainly it applies to mammals. So like for a lot of things, it's under 8 months, you're not allowed to sell them. And that's with and we also talked about third party selling, and it's a case of kittens and puppies aren't allowed to be sold third party through pet shops. They're just not allowed. And to be classed as an actual breeder for dogs, you need a license, and you can be a hobby breeder if you breed less than 3 litters in 12 months, so you don't need a license. And legally, you're not allowed to breed a bitch if she's under 1 year old. She's only allowed 1 litter every 12 months and no more than 6 in a lifetime. So there you go.
Wow. Imagine you got a really old grandma dog. You're just like, and it's like, it still wants to. And you're like, I'm sorry, Bessie, you got to stop.
It's totally gross.
You hit your 6.
You have no back legs.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, although this was only in England, or is this?
This is only in the UK, and also 12 million people, which is 44% of households, have pets. And in UK regions, for like the Northwest, Scotland, whatever, you get dog is king by a lot, usually by 70%. So of all the pets owned in a certain area, it's usually 70% is dogs. Apart from London, where it's cats. That's the only place in the UK by region where dogs isn't the most owned pet. And
that's probably just garden size.
Yeah, fully. And in the world, the UK for dog ownership is 9th, cats is 7th, birds is 12th, and fish is 5th. The USA tops all the lists for all the pets, minus Brazil with birds. So look, it's all happy information. It's nice.
That was quite nice. I mean, I don't know how I feel about birds being pets anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of caged birds.
And it's like, but
is that America by percentage, by per capita?
Or I think it's like just the amount of pets.
Because obviously then they're going to win because they've got more people.
Yeah, no, it's a population of pets. So like they're looking at the numbers of animals in that country.
Well, Alistair, you lived in China for a brief period. I have no idea. What's the pet deal in China?
What's the deal with dogs?
Dogs. I said everyone obviously jokes about the people eating dogs. That not really. I think I saw that maybe once or twice in the whole time I was there, and it's not very common at all. But people were having dogs, and obviously their dogs are actually everywhere. Quite a few people had cats, if I remember correctly. I mean, obviously going to reel off statistics here. Didn't see many fish.
But it's not something that's talked about. I mean, I think it's quite a common conversation. If you meet a dog person, you'll know pretty quick. In England, they'll show you a picture or their background on their phone, or maybe they'll mention it. Maybe, but in China, it wasn't really a thing that you came across.
Yeah, definitely. If a girl had a dog, you'd know about it in the same way that they do here. I mean, people had quite a lot of dogs. I mean, I think it's like a status thing a bit potentially.
I know, like our culture is pretty pet enthusiast as well, which you always think. I'm sure it was Turkey or something. I saw a video and it's kind of like they have like village dogs, which everyone kind of like likes having the dogs there. They're not kind of street dogs. Everyone kind of chimes in. The dogs are just free living. They get fed and kind of do whatever they want. They're like cats. But yeah, so I guess some cultures it'd be like don't like pets at all. Others be like, pets are cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
remember
on that same list, Johnny, did you see the ones at the bottom of that list? Right? Like, that'd be quite. I don't know.
Giraffes.
No.
Which countries have the least?
No, because it was just a case of it was annoying because you couldn't search through it. It was just a case of like those 4 categories, and then also who was the top. So it only went, anything lower than that would just.
Fiji has the lowest percentage of dog ownership. Just like,
so to carry on, traveling circus was my thing. I'm just to learn more about it. So there's a law which was passed in England. So the law was passed in July 2019, and it's been in effect January 2020. And it's really weird looking up things. It's like January 2020, that's so recently. Like, no, that's now last year. I keep thinking it's now. Scotland, so this is a ban on traveling circuses. So what it means is you're not allowed to have wild animals in circuses. Wild animal means it's not a commonly domesticated animal. So it can be, it doesn't mean they've caught it from the wild. It can be captive bred. It's just that it's not a dog, effectively. So it does mean you can have like a cat circus, technically, if you wanted.
Wildly popular, of course.
So Scotland had it in May 2018. Wales is actually July 2020. The law was passed, so in effect December 2020. So Wales has just had it recently.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it had not gone through yet.
Yeah, so I was looking at some stuff, which was when it was older news. As I went to page 2 of Google, that's when you're really researching. So there are only 2 UK traveling circuses, that's it. So there's just 2 circuses which had animals. They had, in combination, they had 19 animals. It's 6 reindeer, 4 zebra, 3 camels, 3 raccoons, a fox, a macaw, and a zebu, which is a type of cow. And as I've heard, they don't taste nice. The meat spoils even when fresh, and the taste of hide permeates through. And it's just like a cow with a really big hump. I just like that one of them had a zebu.
And no one's eating
it. No one's eating it. It's like
someone got palmed off with it. Yeah, when it's just like, what are we gonna do with this? Might as well start a circus with it because no one knows how to use fruits.
Like selling your cow to get rid of it. No, it tastes great, I promise. Well, it looks pretty big, and that's a pretty good price. I can't imagine anything wrong with it.
I only paid 5 magic beans for it. So.
I just love that. It was like one of the suggested things was like, does it taste nice? And then the answer was no. Even fresh meat spoils immediately. It's like I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen. It's like
I've never asked if like a giraffe tastes good because I never thought of it. But yeah, zebu, immediate first question.
So I looked up. So obviously now they can't have non-domestic animals, wild animals, and looking it up, and apparently there is a loophole in the law which says it doesn't stop them from owning the animals and traveling with them. It's just they're not allowed to perform with them, and kind of the traveling part is one of the worst bits, really, because you're in like tiny cages. But so they could still exhibit, but then I looked up the actual circuses that they were dire in the first place. So one is Circus Mondeo, and that seems like they've got no animals and they've gone for performances like trapeze artists, clowns, with kind of Cirque du Soleil kind of thing, but just low budget. And the second was Peter Jolly's circus. That was the low budget of all of them. And it seems they went for the dogs and horses and clowns. And that's so there's like videos of dogs on horses going around the tent and 2 clowns. It was great. So it's like that loophole, it didn't matter. And people had worries when they obviously they're like, what's going to happen? Like when Wales, it haven't banned circuses. It was going to be a safe haven for these traveling circuses. That they'd be able to just stay in Wales and keep doing the thing. And it was like, no, it seemed like they weren't as much of an issue as you thought. And now there's no point anyway. Oh, Northern Ireland.
Imagine all the Welsh people I'm going to botch this accent. It's like, I've already seen a circus this year. I don't want to see another one. There's just like circus coming into town every 5 minutes, just like endlessly. It's like, I don't want any more.
So Republic of Ireland, it was banned in 2018. Northern Ireland, it is not banned, but it's just a case of like everything around them is banned. So realistically, it's like it may as well be because he's not going to have a circus just specifically Northern Ireland. Yeah,
comes on a boat across from America. what's up. Well, thanks for looking that up. I like that. I have a quick question for both of you then. Since it is pretty much, we agree, not cool to have a traveling circus, but would you watch a video of a good traveling circus, like a very exciting video of the animals, knowing that they've gone through a whole lot of not fun, but would you watch the video to see like what a performance looked like in the past?
See, it depends. Just for me, kind of like, I think I'm a curious person, so I feel I'd want to watch it, but I just won't make a habit of it. Do you know the kind of thing of like, well, this is going straight onto it. So, what is considered one of the worst dishes and the most like controversial is it's a songbird. I can't remember which it is, and you drown it in brandy, then you flambe it, yeah, and then you eat it whole, bones and all. That's the dish. It's a French dish, and it's considered like a sinful dish kind of thing. But it still makes me curious morally, in the sense of like you're drowning a bird in alcohol and then eating it whole.
Okay.
And it just sounds like you'd want to try it once just to see what it was like. But you also know that's just the worst way to eat an animal, by drowning it in alcohol.
Is it? I feel like, I don't know.
I
I feel like the famous, the most, if you want to like the furthest away from vegan, is like those goose liver pates and things where they're like force feed these to make the foie gras and that, to make their livers like super fatty and everything.
Yeah, that's bad.
Then they drown it.
And they fuck it. No. Sorry, language. Cut that one out, Fred.
Oh, I guess, yeah, because one's prolonged, but I think it's because it's like a dish which has been like built up around that's meant to be this horrible thing, because you have it at the table and you see get this bird, and then you fill this container up with brandy. Watch the bird drown. It? I think so, yeah.
Wow.
Dinner and a show. Hey?
Well, a lot of places it's illegal to eat songbirds because people did it so much that they're going extinct. They just leave out massive nets and they just catch basically anything. It's basically trawling the skies. Yeah. And then they're just picking out what they want to eat, and the rest is just dead. Alex, would you watch the video? Sorry, just to get back to my point and then move on.
Does over traveling circus? I mean, it wouldn't be that high on my list of like exciting things. I think I don't know.
I'm just saying it's bad content. It's not. I don't get morally. I just think it's not good to watch.
On the level of entertainment these days, so I take issue as the level of entertainment is so high. No, I mean, so I have been to a circus once, and it was like the mental bit at the end where they had this like the sort of circular cage thing, and then they had like motorcyclists go in and then zoom around the cage. And I remember there was one going around and then another one went in, and so there was two of them going around. And then I remember I turned to the person next to me, and they got like a third one out, and I was like, oh, there's no way they're going to do 3. And they went on and they had like 8 in there. All 8 like zooming around this giant, in the Simpsons movie. Yeah. Does that. Yeah, like that in real life, but with like 8 motorcyclists going around. It's pretty mad.
And then did they add a lion, or is that the end of the story?
Is that not enough, Freddie? Is that not enough? I mean, it's cool and all, but where's the lion, man?
I feel like Alice is saying that the video could be amazing. I mean,
I'm saying if it was like that, if it was something that was, like, I don't know, yeah, but I would, I don't know, I probably wouldn't, I feel like as a meat eater, I couldn't be like, oh, I'm morally opposed to even watching a video of a circus. I feel like,
I like the idea. Your biggest complaint is more like you just don't think it's that interesting to watch in the first place. More than it's just like, I just don't think I'm really interested in watching in the first place. And like, I've seen people on motorbikes, so that's pretty cooler.
My bar for circuses is so high.
But yeah, no.
The reason I ask is just because last year when I was in Spain, I went to a friend's house, and on television was bullfighting.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That still exists, doesn't it? Yes, and the dad in the family loved it. And so we were watching this, and I had assumed it was live, and because they were going on, that there was a week of festivals at the time. And yeah, I couldn't help but watch in that morbid curiosity. And it was pretty horrendous, I guess. They do kind of cover it to like spare you the gory details at the end when they do the killing stab. But then the dad rewound it. It was like, look how good this stab is. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, thanks.
Because it's not live, I didn't have that as much of a shock effect. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
Hang.
I mean, I absolutely think if you had to kill every animal you ate before you ate it, then people would eat a lot less meat.
True. I would probably kill animals to eat them.
Yeah, I feel that's just doing it justice, isn't it? So like, I feel if you put it in that sense, it's kind of like, do you deserve to eat meat? And if you're not willing,
the hunter vibe, and I don't know,
yeah,
interesting one.
Yeah, how can you if you're not willing to do it yourself? I mean, this is only hypothetical. Realistically, you can just buy it on the shelf. But given that opportunity to say, like,
Going to Sainsbury's with the rifle.
Wow, that'd be a good question for maybe another week. Is that, can you justify if you couldn't kill the animal that you're allowed to eat it? Anyway, I mean, to be fair, I don't like killing a cow, just shooting the cow.
Killing a cow for one burger, and be like, yeah, well.
Okay, only hand to kill the cow to get a burger. I just don't know how. I did like
it.
You and your bare hands versus the cow. You're like, well, this could be tricky.
Like, just the cow's just stood there.
The only interaction I had with the cow was once I was working in a field. Me and my friend were clearing this ragwort, this farmer's field, when we were like 14, 15. And it was in the middle of the summer. And I took my shirt off because it was hot, and this cow like started chewing up my t-shirt. And so when we were at the other side of the field, and so I ran over to this cow, and it was only when I got closer that I realised quite how massive and bad idea it was to go running towards a cow. But I did get my semi-chewed t-shirt back, so I didn't get killed by a cow. So that was handy.
How'd you get it back? Like pull it?
Punch?
Did you punch?
Yeah, I literally I just kind of ran over to it, kind of dropped it, and I grabbed it. But I thought the closer I got, I was like, did I just risk my life to get a t-shirt? I think I might have. But
see, I've had
loads
loads
kind
of
of green and gross.
So one of my favourites was me, my brother, and my friend, and where my friend lives next to it is just a field full of cows. And we put chairs out because cows are just naturally quite curious, so they'll just come up to you if you just stand in a field. They're just kind of not going to do anything, just looking at you. And we realised we had these 3 chairs, and there's probably like 30 cows, and they all circled round us, and they're just kind of like not really doing anything, just looking. But I was like, these like huge animals, they're all surrounding. We can't see where to get out. It's like, is this dangerous? And then my friend, who obviously is just so familiar, he's like grown up on farms and stuff, he's just like, it's fine, just goes up to a cow, just start swinging at it, they just run away. I mean, they're like proper like wusses. And bulls, different story, but yes, some of them, as long as they don't have calves, it's just really funny, just like really bumpy as well.
I feel like if it was cow fighting, Freddie, on the same TV channel, if it was cow fighting, it would just be a very depressing thing to watch. People murdering a cow with a load of spears. I'm not saying that it's not with bulls, but
I thought cow fighting as in like you just got one guy against like 3 cows with bare hands. I mean, that'd be really funny to watch. He's doing no damage. The cows seem unfazed.
God, if you want to see some justice, I mean, this is again a gore warning. Type into Reddit "the bull wins," and it's just a list of videos where the bull wins.
What was it? The bull kills someone.
Yeah, if you're inclined. They don't always die, but there's a lot of comments where people are like, yeah, go on, cow.
Team cow.
People who are so against it that they enjoy watching videos of the opposing winning.
Yeah, I feel like they've said like the political spectrum is not a line; it's a circle that meets.
Yeah,
the 2 ends of the political spectrum meet at the other end. I feel like vegans who enjoy watching a bull murder a human are like, well,
you became what you sought to destroy.
Well, thank you guys. I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add to my strange animal welfare episode.
I've got one thing, is that for insects and fish can be delivered in the post, like say about exports of bees, you get those in the post. So what you do is you get the queen and you put it in a little like a test tube type thing, because she has pheromones, or the bee, well, usually you'll have, I know quite a bit about bees as well.
Bees just chase the postman down the road as he's trying to deliver this.
So you'll just have a box, and it will be a buzzing box. And so, like when a hive gets enough bees to swarm, so they're splitting off, there's a new queen cell which has emerged, and she'll take like a few of the colony with them. The hive, and so you get the queen early on, put her in a box. Bees will just join in, close the box up, and then you put it in the post, and that's how you get bees. So, like, if you want to start a hive, you buy them online, and I just imagine how unnerving it is for a postman.
Going on a swarm. Do you want to go look for a new house? Do you want to join? Yeah, cool. Woo!
That's exactly it. And if you in the hive, if you don't kill the right amount of queen cells, so you really want to leave just one, realistically, or just none at all if you don't want to swarm. is that the queens just fight each other. They'll just kill each other until one remains, and then they fly away with the swarm. Battle Royale. So they are bored, and they're like, right, let's kill some people and get some people with me.
There's definitely some cool chess version of that. Oh, we should make it. Just 1,000
chess
pawns
with bees.
one queen against the other two with 1,000 pawns and one queen, and just let them have it. See what happens.
The other thing is with bees is that sometimes the queens will go off, find a mate, which is a drone, and they live for all of like a week or something. They just mate with a queen and then they go die when it gets to winter, because they're like, they're not built for hives, the drones. They just,
when it gets to winter, if they only live a week.
Well, it was more like they just die off because they've got nowhere to live, drones.
They live a week unless it's a spring, in which case they live for 9 months.
Yeah, and then the queens go off, make their little hive, and then have babies.
Cool. Well, that was interesting. So just to sum up, actually, I enjoyed that Alistair explained to us how, as we probably could have guessed, the live animal exports is ungood. For pretty much everything. We're talking benefits to the environment, none at all. Benefits to the animals, none at all. Generally not a good thing to do. It's effectively, potentially, chicken slavery, and it'll be interesting to see how our children view our actions in the future. That will be interesting. And Jonathan has explained how the USA has all the pets. A cat circus is legal, and that potentially, out of morbid curiosity, we would have a look at some animal circus videos, although purely just to see what it was like, and wouldn't make a habit of it.
I mean, that sounds such a tame. When you've just been talking about, like, there's a subreddit where we can see people getting killed by bulls. You know what? I may actually watch a video of an animal circus.
What's about here, guys?
Yeah, we'll see. Like, it turns out that like we get reported and people like hate the podcast because they're just like they hate animals. They want to watch animals. What's being done? Like, in the future, Freddie is caught like with 600 terabytes of animal circus videos on his and they go to prison. I mean, again,
100 terabytes of animal circus videos. Even these are the most high quality videos you've ever seen in your life.
8K, I want to see it.
100 terabytes.
Well, with that, ending on that bombshell, thank you for listening to our podcast this week about animal welfare. It's bye from me, Jonathan, and Alistair. See you next week.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and has actually made it to the end, please consider following us on Instagram at No Idea Yet Podcast. And if you have any ideas or topics that we could talk about, feel free to either message us there or send us an email at noideayetpodcast@gmail.com.